All right, we're live. How's everybody doing tonight? It almost was really interesting. My daughter hadn't got home, but because I was basically alone and I had an office full of animals. But because of course, accident in Atlanta, toxic spill, road shutdowns. My daughter had trouble getting home from work, and so that was, fun. Because, of course, we got the new puppy. Not really puppy, 8 months old, but he's been a little bit of a pain in the butt lately. So that would probably have not been fun for the live stream. But anyway, what we got going on tonight? Some personal news. If you don't know, my mother-in-law has dementia. She lives with us, and not last weekend before, she fell, broke 3 of her fingers, knocked her head, got blood. Thanks, Budget Tools. Chris Rainville. Hey, it's just the Chris, we can talk about anything anybody in the chat wants to talk about. If you want to talk about it, we'll talk about it. It's just I reuse the settings for the live stream and just change the date. So, but anyway, getting back to my mother-in-law, leading up to that, she no longer had access to her computer, and we had to take away her phone after she wound up calling an electrician to look at her dryer that was not working but was working fine, and her being more agitated, getting kind of difficult to handle. So we wound up taking her to the geriatric psychiatrist. They recommended we hospitalize her, and so they could have her in-house and work on her medications to get her more stable, because she literally doesn't sleep. She just eats junk food and smokes, and that's it. She doesn't watch TV. All she does is obsess about things, and now she's got a problem where she is now literally making up or having delusions of, like, we just took her cell phone. We didn't really confront her about it, and she accused my son's friends of breaking the phone in front of her. And then she apparently called Verizon, which she doesn't have a phone plan with, and said they were sending her a new phone. Nobody in the house let her use the phone. We don't have a home phone anymore. So, but anyway, so that's what's been going around here. Chris Rainville says, let's hear about the new job. I fix cars. Pretty much all I'm going to talk about with this, where I work now, because I don't want some of the drama of the old shop and some of the stuff to wind up on that doorstep. Let me put it that way, because there has been some pretty pissed off people with a certain management group that would very much try to make my new employer's life miserable. So I'm not gonna put anything in that, but everything else is going fine. Appreciate the prayers for my mother-in-law. What do you think about the new battery-powered snap-on ratchet? It's snap-on, man. I wonder if they're still paying royalties to Milwaukee for their battery technology. But I haven't really. I broke my rule about snap-on power tools when the extended reach came out. Had no problems with it, but every other snap-on power tool I've ever owned, I had problems with. And it was just, for as much as they charge, you figured they'd be, you know, a little more higher quality with what you cost. CCC10, have you had any good head scratching diags recently? Not really. It's different kind of shop than what I used to work at, and I'm not seeing, you know, it's a lot of repetitive kind of stuff, you know, the same old, you know, it's nothing really, nothing really interesting. It's just, you pull codes, you do testing, you put new part on, move on. Replace hose or replace whatever, you know, purge valve. And I'm not getting the interesting stuff. I'm sorry. I get, you know, I'm getting the easy stuff. What can I say? You know, from dealing with all the problems of staff at the old place to just going in and knocking out stuff is kind of nice. I'm not going to lie. By the way, budget tools, it's technically not a green screen. It is NVIDIA broadcast. My NVIDIA graphics card puts up the background. Purebred for Life had issues with the old cadmium battery stuff years back, but all the lithium power tools from Snap-on have been great. Like I said, my one and only experience was the extended reach, and I had no problems with it. I'm not saying anything disparaging about them. Bam Bam, who was a big Snap-on guy, has sent in, I think, every electric ratchet he has owned has gone in for various repairs. Now some of those some of the repairs were, you know, him wrenching on it and breaking the head off. But like one time he literally broke the head on it. He had one that the motor died, or a switch or something. I don't remember what. He had a bunch of problems. I haven't bought any of that stuff in a long time. So like I said, I have negative experiences with their older stuff. I don't see the value in spending the money with Snap-on. You know, not saying they're bad tools. I'm saying I don't see the value in them. Harold, what's up? My motherboard RGB decided to quit working on my motherboard on my streaming PC, which kind of annoying me. And when I tried to reload MSI's program, it failed. So it's annoying me. But anyway, Purebred for Life. I'm not a tool snob, by the way. I spend stupid money on tools for the ease of service. I don't blame you. You know, I'm not disparaging you for buying tools that you see the value in. You know, it's tools are extremely personal, regardless of brand loyalty or anything like that. If they work for you, do the job, more power to you. Like I know a bunch of people, personal preference, prefer the button on the snap-on to the paddle on the Milwaukees. And I'm the exact opposite. And that's not a new thing for me. My old air ratchets had the paddles. And I've always preferred the paddles over the snap-on button. That's personal preference. It just happens to be that Milwaukee aligns with that. So JP, his name is Bam Bam. Of course he's going to break tools. Well, it's his nickname, but yeah. He tended to break a lot of stuff, but that's, he's grown up a lot since back in the day. Northern Grip, been looking at boxes. Do you know anything about Extreme Tools? They have a 72 by 30 triple bank similar to the Montezuma toolbox. They are decent quality. They're above like the basic homeowner stuff at like Cobalt or, Craftsman or something like that. They're probably somewhere around the same quality as the Icon line from Harbor Freight. So a little better than their Harbor Freight line, but not as good as Snap-on, Matco, or that. So you'll get years of service out of the box. I don't think you won't. There's lots of people that swear by them, but they are foreign made, so that is what it is. But they're going to hold tools. They're going to lock. They're generally going to be pretty decent. So I wouldn't worry about buying them. They have been around for 15, maybe 20 years. So they're not going anywhere. Scott Ennis, I bought the new high torque snap-on ratchet. Absolutely love it compared to my previous brushless model. It's awesome. Um, 184, yada, yada, yada. Mike, my battery power ratchet had to be repaired 3 times. And yes, one time my head did fall off. What'd it do? What's up, ISO? James Jones, are you still rocking the old Jamestown's cart from Matco? Can't decide if I want Snap-on's larger cart or the newer Jamestown cart. Yes, I'm rocking the exact same Jamestown cart that came with the Revel X. I've replaced a couple. I've replaced a bunch of slides on it. Not because the ball bearings die, but the retention stuff. Because I'm not exactly kind to that cart. So I've broken the plastic retainer for the drawer slides on many of those drawers, and without those plastics, the drawers will just creep open. So haven't had any other. I've replaced the struts on it once for the lid, and that's about it. The biggest problem with the larger carts is, one, you're going to put more stuff in them, so they're going to be even heavier, and make sure whatever your shop situation is you can move it around. One of the biggest problems with like the Epic cart that Bam Bam has is it really doesn't move. I don't even, of course I don't work there anymore. And, but in the lower shop, and when he was working next to me, it basically sat in one spot. It rarely actually moved. And downstairs, he'd basically he'd roll it from one bay to the other bay because he had a little more room down there. But that's the biggest problem with the bigger and the bigger and the bigger roll carts. It really becomes how heavy and pain in the butt they are to move because they get really heavy. So that's the big thing with roll carts is there's kind of a limit to how big you really should go. And one of the big factors is whether or not you can get it around, move it around in your shop. Pure blood for life. Parts availability in the class 7-8 trucks and heavy equipment is getting ridiculous. We've got to start making more stuff here. Yes. And people have to be willing to pay for American-made stuff. But yes, I 100% agree with that. We need more stuff made in the United States, period. But it's going to be more expensive. And it's basically the same in the automotive side of it. It's really sucking. Scott Ennis, thoughts on the Epic Mobile Work Center, which I was just talking about. Thinking of swapping over from 40-inch KRSC, flip top versus flat top options. The open top is pretty high. So keep that in mind when you're deciding which one you want. The pop-up top is going to give you more room for tools and stuff, but it's always going to be open. Whereas if you buy the one with the straight top, you've got a work surface and you put stuff there, but you don't have additional storage. And again, the moving it around is a big one. You got to make sure you have enough, so just be careful on that, but it's going to be personal preference mostly on that because do you want that additional storage or do you want a work surface? Because chances are if you do the flip top, you're not going to be closing it and then working on it because a bunch of tools you're going to need is going to be in there. So ISO, isn't there a can tool that can be used to test if they're working? Would you say those are accurate? Yeah, it's called a scope. I mean, you can test networking. A network tool. I don't know of an automated tool off the top of my head. I haven't looked into one either. But if your scan tool is communicating with all modules, the network would be, if everything on that network is communicating, the network would be working. If you have modules that aren't reporting, so a scan tool would detect that. To diagnose it, you're going to need a scope, or worst case scenario, a DVOM with the system off, check for resistance. 66C10. I've been beating the hell out of my JNC 750. Never had an issue in 6 years. Well, that's awesome. Charles Johnstone, is the snap-on tech angle half-inch the best for doing engine jobs? We got a 3.6 in the shop, and cylinder heads had to come off. I'm a GS, but the guy working on it was borrowing my Cornwell torque wrenches. I don't know if I would call the tech angle the best. They are definitely very high up there. I'm sure there's more precise torque measuring instruments out there for torque, but that's what I use. I don't know why the guy doing head jobs is borrowing tools from a GS. That's a different. Different topic, but anyway, I Snap-on Tech Angle torque wrenches would definitely be, if they break, would be replaced. They just, with the torque angle and all that, being able to, when you're doing torque to yield, ratchet it back easily. And so yeah, I definitely would highly recommend Tech Angle if you're doing engine work. 184 said, I love my flip top. JP, are you going to open your own shop? No. One, the area I live in is extremely restrictive for auto repair shops. And, I don't necessarily think it's a good investment, especially in the current economy. There's no way in heck I would be opening a shop right now with everybody, with inflation as high as it is, people struggling to pay their bills. It's not a good time, even if I wanted to. Zeffel, drone delivery of tools from your toolbox to engine bay is the wave of the future. Oh. James Jones, I want more space for diag stuff to stay in my cart. I have my basic everyday tools in my smaller Forge Roar Matco cart, but no room left after power tools for diag stuff. That's why I have a separate diag cart. I have a Mac cart that I use strictly for diag. Only things in it are diag. May not be an option for you, but that was my solution. It gave me more storage, what I needed as well. So, and it was cheaper than a locker. So, Matt Eberl, scanning cars is going to be a lot more expensive here soon. You're so right on that. JC's Garage, Cornroll, or the Matco half-inch impact universals, both are insane on price. Yes, but buy the Matcos. Don't buy the Cornwalls. But yes, they are extremely expensive. Open top takes up less space than slider tops. Yes. Yeah, I've made the slide top mistake twice, both times with Mac. I thought it would be a good idea for putting laptops on or scan tools, and when they're slid open, they just take up so much damn room. So yeah. Zeffel, Matt, that's because we let manufacturers get away with proprietary standards and protocols. They actually can't get away with proprietary protocols because emissions requires OBD2 compliance. The problem is they're putting everything behind security paywalls. They're putting it behind security. The excuse of, well, people steal cars. You think, you think anybody really cares about that stealing cars is going to be concerned about a $50 fee to clear codes? No, they're bypassing the security module anyway. Okay, Joseph Espinoza says GM made a network tool. The little breakout box for the DLC works pretty well. James Jones, network communication isn't that hard. I found a scope to be the easiest and fastest, but I rarely need to scope CAN lines. Yeah, no, if you know what modules are offline, you look at the network diagram, you're going to be able to figure out what module or what branch of the network is pulling the system down. ISOs are someone who puts out any tutorials on how to use a scope, preferably Pico since it seems like the best. Scanner Danner puts out videos on, he does some Pico scope. South Main Auto, he does a bunch of stuff with the Pico scope. Bernie Thompson, he uses the ATS scope because he owns that company. But pretty much anything scope related will translate across all scopes. The only difference between brands of scopes is how you manipulate the software. How you set the signal is the same across all of them. It's just what tab you go to set the time base, what tab you set to set the voltage range or trigger. So it all translates once you understand how to use a scope. It's just learning how to use that particular brand of scope that you have. So all of it will translate. So yeah. James Jones, honestly, use a U-scope, but they aren't that expensive. You could get 2 U-scopes in a breakout box for less than $400 and would get the job done. Yeah. Tubro, 1 month at the new place. Unfortunately, cannot afford dual truck brand tools. I get underpaid as an apprentice and have bills and rent to pay. Well, Tubro, pay will increase over time, so stick with it. Learn as much as you can. I think you had a pretty good tool set already, so. ISO, would you say truck dealer life is worth it? Is it similar to regular car dealer life? I'm new to car dealers, and I've never going back. I hate new car dealers, and I'm never going back. There's a bunch of people in this chat that work HD. It's a lot less. It's a lot more stable. Usually hourly. There's not as much drama as far as I can tell. So it's probably a lot better than most dealers as far as cars. Charles Downstone, my foreman at the end of the day told me to drive a 2006 F350 6.0 after my coworkers did some steering work to it. First thought was, oh God, steering wheel free play is all over the place at times. Ooh, I'd be pulling that back in and say it ain't something right. Because if they just did steering work to it and it's loose as hell, might be a problem. Jonathan Campos, love my slide top snap-on box, but I'm the first to admit the space part is the biggest problem I have. LOL, yes. It's awesome. I loved having the slide tops because it's like having, when I worked out of one, it was awesome because you had 2, side shelves, and then you had the regular, open area to store tools and all that. But yeah, no, I mean, it was, like you had 2 side shelves and it sucked. Lil Nas Pack, probably, I'm sure I'm screwing that. What would you do if you worked for a company that provided their own tools, but their tools are garbage quality? I wouldn't have taken the job. Honestly, if I went to work for a company and I was having to use their tools, I would be looking at their tools, and if they're junk and they didn't allow me to bring good tools, I wouldn't want to take the job because it's just going to make your life miserable dealing with the problems caused by bad tools. Matt I'm opening a shop here in a week, but I'm 60 miles away from a city with 82,000 people. I'm going to be a wheel and tire shop. That roads in my neighborhood, all gravel. The nearest paved road is 7 miles. Probably a profitable endeavor there if you're got that much dirt roads. I mean, you know, Atlanta's potholes, and we don't have snow or anything like that. We just have really bad roads. Pure blood for life. Auto manufacturers have gotten way too cute with the computer control. I knew they would find another way around since the right to repair lawsuit. It's I don't even think it is that mischievous. I think it has more to do with they're so afraid of somebody stealing their car and resulting in the death of somebody and them getting sued and that happening over and over again. That's probably why they're putting so much behind security, is more for liability reasons than actually preventing repairs. But who the hell knows? I mean, all you got to do is, if you're old enough, you remember the Pinto fun stuff. In case you're not, Pintos were a Ford vehicle a long time ago in the 70s. And if it was rear-ended in a certain way and the turn signal was on, it'd go boom. And the Ford lawyers, unfortunately, they documented this, figured out it was cheaper just to pay the lawsuits than to recall the cars, because it was a pretty well-selling piece of crap car, but, you know. Is that any better? Mars from Cali, let me know. My Go XLR wasn't all the way up. Theory, late to the party. Hello everyone. How would you go about putting together a simple list for new techs in the shop? With my new guy I gave him an Amazon list to reference and also recommend. Higher quality essential tools through the tool trucks, as well as budget friendly Harbor Freight simple tools. I would, specifically your shop, go through like your roll cart. Look at your roll cart and go through and pick out the tools that are constantly used, occasionally used, and then obviously not used. But, you know, pick out the tools that are constantly being needed, and that's how I would do that list. Because it's going to vary considerably based on the workload you have. You know, like, if you don't ever work on Volkswagen, you're never going to need triple squares. But if you're doing a bunch of Volkswagens, you're going to need triple squares. So I would just go through and look at your tools based on what you use and then go from there. Yes, Amazon does sell a lot of good brand tools these days. Embry, what's up? Charles Johnson, I've been a GS for 2 years, came in with $200 worth of tools. I did the math, and now I have over 8K in tools and don't have a lockbox. My shop has laser beams, etc. for lockdown. LOL. Should I be concerned? I think so. The thing about tool theft is, honestly, if the thieves want your tools, they're going to steal them. I would try to have a secure... I would try to put as much resistance in the way of them getting stolen A big toolbox is the easiest way because it's really hard to move and load up. And decent locks that are difficult to break into. If anybody says their toolbox can't be broken into, they're full of it. There's always ways to break into a toolbox. Trust me, I had to break into the Revel X. Not long after I bought it, because the bar for the locking mechanism got tweaked and it wouldn't unlock a bunch of drawers. Anyway, but yeah, that's what the biggest thing is. Put as much resistance as you can. But yeah, I would not rely on your shop keeping them safe. Matt Embry, snow makes that much more fun here. I'm living at 3,300 above sea level, South Dakota. Well, snow makes everything more fun. 184, what do you think about automotive engineers? I hate them fun fact, my ex-boss at the old shop is an automotive engineer. And it's not always the engineer's fault. I'll give him credit for that. A lot of times, it's the money men. It's the people in charge of the budgets. And there's other problems with car engineering, like the fact that engineering team A will work on this, engineering team B will work on this, and nobody talks to each other, and then they got to figure out how to get them to fit together. So, but you have to remember something. Cars are engineered to be built, not repaired. And that's the priority. And it sucks. Sometimes it really sucks. Let's see. Kurt Dawson, here's a good one for you. My shop owner is now charging techs $55 an hour to work on their personal and family member vehicles. That is, in my opinion, utter BS. I can understand putting limits on it. I could understand, not even allowing techs to work in the shop during off hours on their own personal stuff. I can get with that. Liability, you're alone, you might get hurt, etc., etc. Charging people is ridiculous to work on their own stuff with their own tools, using limited resources, like end of day, you don't have anything else to work on. Can I pull my car in and do an oil change? Oh, it's $55 an hour. Screw that. Personal opinion, but I know a lot of shop owners do that kind of stuff. James Jones recommends Charles Johnson's get a locking toolbox. Shop won't replace them if they get stolen. Depending on their insurance, it may be covered, but probably not. Theory, even with the shop I'm at, everyone respects the other tools. We all lock our stuff up. I don't understand some shops that have built-ins that the management has your key to. Most of that's about a theme. It's a consistent look, especially for dealer brands. When they look in there and they see all the same and it looks really good, it's just like the Starbucks machines and all that. It's about a look. Thing about it is, how I can tell you right now, most dealerships, I can tell you, probably don't even know where the key is to your box. Those are, they get copies of it, and when somebody leaves, they empty it and hand the key in, and you get that key the same. I bet 9 times out of 10, if somebody leaves and doesn't give the tool back, they're probably having somebody come out, drill out the lock, and put a new lock in it. Because they probably have no idea where the extra key for that is. I could be wrong, but I doubt it. Pure blood for life, I recall. I'm 44, but remember the Pinto, Pacer, and, my brother actually flipped a Pinto. My dad had a Pinto. My brother started driving it. He had a tire blowout and flipped it. Didn't blow up though. Mars from Cali, much better, but still a little low. Thank you. I love the channel. I'm glad that was a little better. When I enunciate, I'm hitting the yellow, so it should be fine. Charles Johnstone, I have everything itemized. I trust my coworkers, but I've always bought tools. I have a lot of things itemized, but buying a box right now just feels like an expense, etc. Tools make money. True, but, Embry, I've used Harbor Freight tools since 73. They upped their game considerably. Yes, they have. Lil Knapsack, I'm glad to hear that I quit my job recently because their tools just were not up to par. They said I was making a ridiculous decision. Yeah. James Jones says to Charles, absolutely go cheap with the box. Remember, the lock is just a deterrent. Yeah. You don't have to go out and buy a snap-on or something like that. You just want to be able to lock it up and make it harder for them to steal. Gabriel, I'm an R&R technician, graduated off the lube rack recently. I'm 17 and still have a Snap-on SEP from high school, just graduated. Snap-on CT 9010 for $500, worth it. I have a half-inch gun already. Double check that is the part number I think it is. Three-eighths. I mean, it's Gabriel. If you've already got an M12, I would probably, I'd probably look at Milwaukee over the Snap-on. Up to you, obviously, but I would prefer to have the same batteries and continue buying the same batteries. Milwaukee is going to be supporting the M18 and M12 systems for a while. So personally, I would go with the Milwaukee, which is going to be right around that $500 if I remember correctly. That's the way I would go rather than getting the Snap-on 3/8. Theory, hell, one of the shops I was at, the cleaning crew was stealing tools and parts, stole a flashlight right from a guy one week and then the charger for the next. Yeah, that sucks. I've never had, I only worked at, there was 2 shops I worked at that had cleaners come in. Neither one actually cleaned the shop. They only cleaned the offices. Like the one shop I worked at, they'd come in, clean the offices. They did not have access to the back. The other shop, they could have walked in the back, but everything was locked up except the boss's tools. So they might have stole his stuff. But yeah, people sucked sometimes, man. Jonathan Campos, one of the guys at the shop lost his keys for his box and managed to break it open. In the process, gave me trust issues. Locks are only a deterrent. Whether it's on a car, your house, your toolbox, it is only a deterrent. You know, you want to get into a car, take a spark plug, rip the electrode off of it, take the iridium and break the glass. Same thing in a house. You know, but yeah, bolt the top to the bottom. Yes. If you have top and bottom, always bolt them together. Pat House, if you want to work on personal vehicles, then we need an agreement. If it's a corporate shop, can't help you. Yeah, but I've seen that with many independent shops where they either charge their employees to work on their vehicles after hours or make them do it during hours and charge them what he said, like $55 an hour. The thing is like, all a shop needs to be covered by is, especially with the technician's flat rate, is a work order on the vehicle. If there is a work order on the vehicle, the shop is legally covered. And if the technician's an hourly employee, neither is going to, the technician's not going to be covered if he's injured no matter what. I hate to tell technicians, but if you're working at a shop after hours and can't prove you were there for the employer, you're not going to be covered under their insurance. It'll get kicked back. If you can't prove you were there working on a customer's vehicle, i.e. still clocked in, insurance is going to kick it right back out because you were at the shop after hours. Matt Embry, as a shop owner, family member cars is free repair. They're cheapskates. Yeah. Pat House, for a small shop, you can work on your own car, your wife's car, your own parents' car, and I'll probably help. You know, I don't get that whole screwing over your employees for some BS. Like they want to fix their family's car, you know. Just Espinoza, thoughts on aftermarket parts warranty labor claims. There is some really good warranty companies and a lot of bad ones. The problem is figuring out the good ones versus the bad ones. The good ones, Fidelity, all the CarMax companies are all really good. They'll pay decent. They'll pay, your labor rate. They'll pay decent amount for parts, etc., etc. The other ones, they advertise on TV, they're trash. So that's the biggest thing is most of them are trash, but there are good companies out there with aftermarket. My boss, T. Corrales, my boss always locks the shop tool cabinets. I look at him like, we all have grinders and torches, right? Ain't stopping us, no. No, I was joking with the tech because he just I just done some torching for him, and I knew I was gonna have to do some more torching in the morning, and so I wrapped up the torch and put it next to the guy's toolbox. And he was a guy that was always hit and miss on locking up his toolbox, but for some reason that night he had to make sure his tools were all put away and his tools were locked up. And I'm like, you do realize there's a torch right next to your toolbox, right? You could get into that toolbox in like 2 minutes. But it was more about funny than anything else. Charles Jonestown. Oh, guys, after replacing a cat converter for warranty, someone broke a bolt on the exhaust manifold on a 2.4 Honda. Basically, you need an inline drill, and Snap-on's the only one to have an electric one. Okay. I mean, that 2.4 is pretty tight on the backside, so. Greg McGee, if a thief can move and lift my loaded Matco 6S, they can have an LOL. Good luck. Yeah. Yeah, the tow truck moving my two toolboxes. I bet he was riding on the bump stops. I used a Charles Johnson. I used a Blue Point drill, hyperstets from Matco, then a Milwaukee inline die grinder with carbide bits, and it threw the bolt out, and I followed the threads with a thread tracer. Nice. Snap-on's the only company who makes an inline drill. Sucks to have hypersteps, and you can't get to where you need them. Yeah, that's one of the biggest problems with drilling on cars is just access. Yeah, I just use a right angle drill bit, Scott. Same thing, stubby bits. Kurt Dawson, even better about the owner charging techs. We have to pay the book rate, not how long we actually take. Appreciate your thoughts. And yes, I'm looking for work. Yeah, that is just horrible that they're just screwing over their people. I don't understand why they're doing that. ISO, I'm at a point where I have decent knowledge and can work alone without supervision, but my diag skills are mid at best, but I want to negotiate higher pay. But that's how you get the most pay. Shop owners are also super cheap. They're annoying. Power Stroke Jude, appreciate the $5 super chat. Appreciate you stopping by. You know, the thing about it, ISO, if you're good at if you're decent at diagnostic and good at repairs, everybody almost always needs a good B-Tech that can grow into an A-Tech. So don't count yourself out just because you're mid at diagnostic. Trust me, I've made a lot of mid diag guys really good diag guys. So, and ISO, shop owners being super cheap. Kurt Dawson's boss is just a good example of that. Are you still selling shopping for my store? Apply. Oh, it's so weird because, like, I pulled up the store about the stickers, and they show the Luber stickers, but not the flatratemaster sticker. So I don't. The problem is it isn't me. It's the company that integrates with YouTube, and they will stop selling stuff, and then all of a sudden I don't get notified they stop selling something. So I don't know. I will try to look and see if they're still in the store. 1-843-657-231. But it's not showing up when I try to tag it. So let's try one more. Nope. I called it. Nope. Not coming up. So they might have discontinued them. I don't know. A the dad hat doesn't come up anymore. Pad house, I'm considering letting my tech bid the amount they want. I mean, within reason, if they're, you know. ISO, side note, I find most older techs are okay with teaching something as long as the rookie takes full initiative to do everything basic first. Please. You know, one of the worst things is when you have a young technician and they don't do the stuff you ask. Like I can't tell you how many times I've had techs come over and I'm like, okay, did you check this? Yeah, it's good. What's good? Oh, well, I got voltage on it. What kind of voltage? Did it light up a test light? And they can't answer because they didn't do it. Whereas if they did it, they'd go, yeah, it's like battery voltage. You know, that's all I was asking for. Is it battery voltage? And then I might did you test with a DVOM or a test light? But yeah, no, if you put in the effort, I will do my best to teach you everything I can. If you half-ass it and don't care, just don't. It's hard to teach somebody that won't put in the initiative. So, very true. Will R, question for anyone. Would you handle having to pad the clock because if you finish the job? Question for anyone. How would you handle having to pad the clock because if you're finished too quick, you get the time dropped? I have no problem padding the clock to book. That was a customer's expectation. Or if it's warranty, I have no problem with that either. Because if you don't pad the clock, they're going to cut warranty times. But if it's customer retail pay, I have no problem delaying that because that's what they're going to pay regardless of how you're paid. That's the thing is 9 times out of 10, they may pay you less if you finish it too early. The customer's still probably paying the exact same amount. So I don't have any problem with it. So my personal opinion, I'm sure Chad will give you some other things. Power stroke, Jude. So what scan tool is everyone using? I use the Tridion D10 launch, the auto scan, X tool, Snap-on, Bosch. What kind of scan tools you need? Will R had a 12-hour transmission R&R turned into 6 because it was done too fast. Yeah, I mean, you know, like I said, if it's warranty, your time, the times will get cut fast enough. It's warranty. If it's customer paid, they're still going to pay 12 hours. So make sure you get your pay and don't get cut. Joseph Espinoza, what I meant was bad part from RLI, putting in a warranty claim. It went from $300 to $170, ended up with a $49 check. Oh, part stores are usually garbage. I know Jasper Warranty for warranting their crap transmissions was utter garbage. Like it literally, like I ate the cost of the fluid. I ate the cost of flushing the transmission cooler after replacing it. And basically to warranty a transmission from them basically was I washed on the whole job just on my time swapping it again. Yeah, it's as what everybody's saying is that's not cool if they're yanking the time for you, but it could be weird. Leo Jimenez, I'm on the fence about going with a Maximus 4 or Throttle 3. They're similar. No, they're the exact same. The Matco Maximus 4 and the Launch Throttle 3 are the exact same tools. The only difference is Matco puts a skinned GUI on top of the Launch software. But it's the exact same software. Everything else is the same. The advantage of going with Matco is you literally have somebody to hand the tool to if there's a problem. So I would, but that's literally the only difference is warranty and cost. But other than that, they're the exact same tools. Some excessive steer play. Power Stroke Jude helping out in the chat. Will R put a 6R80 in them from them and it wouldn't back out of the bay. This is years ago, but I had it was a wheelchair equipped van, and it was the guy's only van that had the ability to get his wheelchair in there. And so I'm like, transmission was shot. It couldn't be driven anymore. Jasper transmission, put a new cooler in it, and I can't tell you how many hours on the phone and swapping parts, and with the exact same result. As soon as you start driving down the road, it would default to limp mode. Nothing wrong with the vehicle before the transmission went out. They tried to blame me for not buying their cooler kit, and when I sent them the receipt for the OEM cooler that I bought, they shut up because I also had new hoses. And on that car, it's literally the cooler and hoses to the transmission. But anyway, went through hell, finally got the salesman to come in, and he immediately called. We had a brand new transmission. As soon as I got it, I knocked it out that night, and the customer was able to pick up their van. But it went through hell. 1843, look in the store after the live stream if they're there. I'm going to check, see if they're still available in the merch store. As I was saying earlier, they stopped selling stuff for some reason, and they don't bother to tell me. So I will look and see if they still sell them. But when I tried to tag products for the chat, they weren't showing up. So I bet they're discontinued. And that's not something I have control over. Kurt Dawson, I love my Zeus Plus, but Jesus, they need to add topology for what it costs. That still blows my mind they don't have topology yet. Paulo, what's going on? CCC10, Nissan has gone to the Consult 4 scan tool software over the Consult 3 Plus. It is very difficult to get used to so far. Definitely not any faster. Really? Consult not better? No. Yeah, no, I've Scott Ennis says, Kurt, how do you like the remote scope module on the Zeus? I'm split on whether I'm okay with a separate scope module. Seems annoying to use. I will give you my opinions on that. I don't. The times I grab my Veris Edge is for quick scope use, where I want it all one unit. So I can just hook up leads and start scoping. If I'm unplugging stuff and making it, I might as well use my Pico. So I really, just kind of annoying. You know, the launch and the Autel scopes are separate already. So it's about setting up a Pico. Will R, I hate the Consult 3 Plus. I think everybody hates Consult except when they actually are able to fix a car with it. I'll use it in any aftermarket tool over that, LOL. Yeah, until the until the aftermarket tool doesn't do what you need it to do. Throttle body relearns. Anybody? What laptop device do you connect your Pico to? A touchscreen Windows 10 laptop. That's a i5 processor. It's not super fast. Probably for more complex scoping, I probably need a higher end. But if I need that, I can just pull out my gaming laptop. But it's just a touchscreen Asus Windows laptop with a i5 processor, Intel graphics, nothing real major. Is there a recommended or required device that works best with Picos? Windows 10 or 11, Linux. I don't think they have really any hardware restrictions. But any basic motive. I'm looking at, I don't know if this is automotive or not. Windows 7, 8.1 or 10. This is old. Laptop specs. Okay, here we go. Nowadays, per Pico, nowadays the guidance is that if the laptop can run Windows 10, then it will be able to run Picoscope software. Auto Nerds recommends a 2 gigahertz dual core processor with 4 gigs of RAM. Preferably USB 3.0, more RAM is preferred. This is old too. Yeah, 2019. But yeah, really you don't need a like super powerful laptop. I prefer, however, a touchscreen. Aaron Townsend TV, AES Wave U-Scope is a great single channel scope. How you doing, Aaron? Yes, it is. We were talking about the U-Scope earlier. It's where I got my Pico from. Yeah, that's where I got my Pico from too, is the AES Wave. 66C10 to get our 5.6 throttle bodies to relearn. You got to do a master reset about 3 times, restart console about 5 times, and then 5 reprograms, and boom, fixed it. Yeah, sounds about right for consult. Charles Johnson, by the way, I'm looking at the AutoFix D1 Lite because of FRM, because I cleaned a very dirty MAF on a 114 after spark plug replacement and came back for MAF circuit faults. Need VE test graphs. Yep. 66C10, I got a message that Windows 10 is going out next year. Yes. You can pay for additional security supports from Windows as a business user. But yes, Windows 10 is being end of life. So I am still on Windows 10 everything. My daughter unfortunately upgraded her laptop to Windows 11, and my wife's work computer is Windows 11, but everybody else in the house is still Windows 10 or some version of Linux. Scott Ennis, 100%. I have a 4425 and a laptop if need be. I see the extra scope connection is just extra, but I do test drives with Snap-on occasionally with 10-foot leads. Yeah. If it's not broken, fix it. 38 watch and 18 thumbs up. Appreciate it. If you smash that thumbs up button, I appreciate it. Found a TSB talking about reprogram either of these codes and it ran fine. I think computer saw the change and set fault codes. I need VE. I have the King Bolin for resets, etc. I was a Nissan dealer tech at 2 dealers. My God, do I hate that brand and those stupid service advisors so much. Oh, I don't. I'm not a fan of Nissan. So I don't have anything to say about their service advisors, but I'm not a fan of their cars or their scan tools. Oh. Aaron, you still in the chat? If you are, let me know how things are going at the old shop. Everybody all happy and perky because I'm gone? What other questions we got? Nissan, the Chrysler of Japan. Yes, Will you are correct. Aaron, how's everything going for you? How's the new house? How's being a homeowner? How's that treating you, Aaron? Altimas are hood cars. LOL. Yeah. They are completely hood cars. I can't tell you how many memes of Altimas I've seen over in the car forums on Facebook. The I don't need a man meme with, bald tires and always an Altima. Oddly enough, Nissan went the same way as Chrysler with the security gateway stuff through auto auth. So just saying, they are the Chrysler of Japan. Uh, 66 C10. I've been wrenching on Nissan's 8 years. Maybe I should try Toyota, LOL, but I know them like the back of my hand. Yeah, I bet. Zeffel Aaron is Aaron Townsend TV. He's one of the guys that I used to work with at the old shop. Altima equals Japanese Chrysler 300. Scott Ennis, what's the best way to job hunt as a tech? Everything. Go on Indeed, go in LinkedIn, go to Glassdoor, pretty much anywhere there's job listings. Go through everything. Look out across things. Aaron Townsend, things are good. We had a new guy start 2 weeks ago. He's doing... How many techs are you guys up to now? He's doing good. We had a programmer brick a BMW radio. The guy with the afro who tried to fight Cole. Home ownership is fun. I'm glad I don't have a bigger house. I can tell you... you know, my house has 3 air conditioners. I just had to replace 1 air conditioner. Quite expensive. So yes, I can feel you on that. Yeah, how many guys are you up to down there? Will R, the only saving grace of Chrysler is WeTech, and their service information is usually great. Everybody, I've never unfortunately had the joy, because everybody talks about how great WeTech is, and I've never used it because my old boss would, by the way, Aaron, I could tell you why that guy bricked it is because that's why people don't want to program BMWs that require infotainment, because that always happens. But yeah, that's pretty funny though that he's that guy who that is hilarious. Oh. You know, like I used IDS a lot back in the day before Ford screwed it up. T Corrals, how do you deal with a new guy about a year into the shop? He's there. He's there. He wants to learn, but when given simple tasks like PMs or oil change services, he struggles to get it done and wants more. Does he struggle doing the oil changes and PMs physically? I mean, is he just slow at them? He doesn't actually want to do them because he wants cooler jobs. What's the issue? Let me know. Yeah, Will, our IDS was fantastic. I think, based on your statement, it sounds like he doesn't want to do the normal easy stuff. Is just it kind of sounds like it's beneath him. He wants to do the cool stuff. He wants to do the clutches and stuff like that. Would be my guess, and that's going to be a problem of attitude. You're going to have to fix the attitude. If it's not broken, fix it. Ever since my boss told me that I care too much, working for him is just okay at best. Been thinking about moving on from heavy equipment or a different shop. Been at the same shop for 15 years. I mean, why would you tell you care too much? Zeffel, the only way to unbrick it is at a dealer unauthorized service center. I'm presuming there's a couple tricks. ISTA runs on a laptop, Aaron. Like I have VADCOM on my Zeus, or not Zeus, but Varus. There's some tricks to unbrick it, but chances are it's going to require just replacing the radio or sending it to somebody that can re-virginize the processor in it. If they can't do their programming magic. And the programmer that he's talking about uses ISTA, by the way, a legitimate copy of ISTA. It's a massive programming company in Atlanta. But yeah, We are now at tech number 49. We have 11 guys. Damn. Gone through some people since I've left, haven't you? Because what? We're up to 42 when I got let go. Damn, Aaron. Yeah, T. Corrales, that sounds like an attitude problem. You're not going to be able to fix that. He needs to be, not by you, but by management, put into his place, that he needs to learn the basics before he gets higher stuff up. You know it's magic with the icon on Wi-Fi. Yeah, I mean it's yeah, I'm T. Corrales. He needs an attitude adjustment. You know, he needs to be, you know, smacked on the back of the head metaphorically and put it into the right mindset. ISO, do you agree you can't be too buddy with the young goobers because they eventually believe you don't need to follow directions or think they know more than you do? Um, Aaron Townsend was not a luber goober when he started working at the old shop, but he was young and less experienced. So no, I think you take good people under your wings and you'll be able to recognize the wheat from the chaff, and you help the ones that want to you know um and you kind of half-ass the ones that don't care. So my opinion. All right, we got any more questions? If it's not broken, fix it. I'll help my coworkers until I look it up on YouTube and don't do it the correct way or half it. Matt, I've been a slow tech, but a really good tech. I mean, I've met some very meticulous techs that I'd have no problem um, you know, working on my car because I know how meticulous they are. But Aaron Townsend, man, sometimes you use YouTube as the way to get something done. Yeah, there's a lot of good information on YouTube. All right. Got any more? Any other questions other than famous slick Rick pimping for Trump? Which, by the way, you it's 2024, not 2004. Might want to fix that. All right, if we don't have any more questions, if we don't have any more questions, true, if it's not broken, there's a lot of bad information on YouTube as well. David Rios, 2015 Cherokee converter recall after it was serviced by the dealer. Now there's a hiss around 3,000. Almost sounds like a turbo spool. It sounds like it's got a exhaust leak under higher pressures. David Rios, that's what it sounds like, or it's got a vacuum leak. So I'd look around the repairs, look for exhaust soot. Aaron Townsend says we need AI search in all data 2024. No, you just need to learn how to search all data better. Manuel Harrison, how is the mobile mechanic life? Are you referring to diagnostics or actually fixing people's cars mobile? Fixing people's cars mobile sucks. Doing mobile diagnostics, as Aaron was talking about earlier, sometimes you brick modules. There you go, famous slick Rick. It's kind of expensive. Like I said, repairs suck. Paulo Ferreira, Scotty Kilmer died. Sounds like clickbait. Yeah. I think his son is involved in the business. So at this point, Scotty Kilmer could be dead and they could be AI generating him and reusing clips and stuff. So fixing things, it sucks. You're dependent on the weather. You're dependent on a good location to work wherever the car is. Kurt Dawson, have any 12 high power anxiety on your 4090? I have a 4080. I'm not that. I'm poor. I only got a 4080. No. I've got direct cable mod cables to it, and it is fully seated. And it's also a 4080, which tends to burn up less. So, nope, I'm good on that. Aaron Townsend, all data search should be a skill on your resume. I got really good at searching all data. You just have to be creative with search terms, because what you think they call it doesn't mean that's what it's called. Zephyl, maybe it's just me. I see a ton of more mobile service maintenance techs, mechanics going to people's homes. Where do you think all those technicians that left the shop went to when they couldn't find equivalent work? They started working out of a van. A bunch of people suggested I do it, and I was like, no. Blue Point has a low pro 1/4 inch set with everything worth the money, made with S2. So yeah, probably. With search, less words is more. Yeah, you gotta understand how Yes, the more words you put in there, the more complicated the search is and less likely to result. Yes, very true. All right. Got any other questions before I head on out? Aaron, take care of yourself. I'll see you on Instagram. So I'm going to go ahead and head out. I appreciate everybody stopping by. So, as always, oh, Aaron, it'd have been easier with actual air instead of the cracked ISTA you're using, but Wes being Wes, he has an ICOM and he won't spend the $3,500 for BMW software, which is stupid. But anyway, all right, I'm gonna head out. Thanks for everybody for stopping by. As always, I am the Flat Rate Master.